Well, we're finally here. We are at the place called the Mother of Missions, the San Jose Mission that you can see right behind me. It is the biggest mission of all four in San Antonio currently, and it's been restored to its full grandeur in 1930. So we will go ahead and explore and see what it's like inside. Let's go. Pretty cool. So as you can see, there's a flag of Vatican flying, United States and Texas, as we're walking into Mission San Jose, the mother of all missions. So right as you walk up to the main door, you can see this beautiful statue of Franciscan friar Antonio Margel de Jesus. Not only is he a patron saint of all of Texas, but he was actually the founder of this mission of San Jose. Guys, let's go in. So San Jose actually celebrated its 300 years in 2020. So this 300-year-old mission is excellently preserved. It's been restored almost fully in 1930. As you can see, it is well fortified. It almost looks like a fort inside here. And it's just beautiful. You can see the Convento. So this is where the priest and layman lived. The rooms upstairs and downstairs. An interesting fact that people actually hunted from up from the tower. It was perfect for visibility and it was safe. There's no wild animals around you, so not much change in the last 150 years. This is what the church looked like in 1885, and this is the view in 2022. One of the most interesting pieces of art here in San Jose is Rosa's window. No one really knows why it is here and why is it so extravagant, but there's many stories and rumors why it was created, and we'll go there and I'll show you in a second what it looks like. But the legend has it that a certain Spaniard by the name of Pedro Huizar had a fiancée on her way from Europe to visit him here. And when she was on a ship across the Atlantic Ocean and went down, she perished. And in his grief, he carved this window art to remind him of her. And on the day when he completed it, her spirit visited him here. And some say she still comes and visits till these days. So let's go take a look. Here it is, the famous Rosa window. A beautiful Baroque style. Just fantastic. Look at this. What a beautiful, beautiful artwork. Wow. So the tale is true. It is so profoundly sad to imagine the artist making this window with a broken heart and looking in the distant right ahead of him, and knowing that his love is never coming, but making this in remembrance of her. I mean, this is art like this really speaks to what is human in us. This is a serious building. It's more of a castle really than a church. We can see here what it was like when it was originally made. Most of the outside frescoes have since fallen, but here if we get up close, you can kind of get the sense of the colors and the artwork. And so when you look at the whole thing, you can imagine how magnificent and beautiful it looked to any visitor from miles away. It would shine in white and sparkle with different kind of colors, and who knows what kind of art was covering the rest of the church, but fantastic. Ooh, let's see what's here. This looks very interesting. Huh. Wow. Okay, so there's a stairway, what appears to be a wooden stairway leading where, I'm not too sure. Huh. An incredible opportunity to go inside of this beautiful church. Just look at how magnificently beautiful it is. The doors are open, you can hear the choir inside. The artwork is amazing. Let's go check it out. And here, actually, I didn't even realize it at first, but we saw something very unique. An actual relic of Saint Francis. So right there in the center, in the circle right there, is a piece of Saint Francis' body. Can be his finger, a little bit of his fingernail or hair or skin or bone, but it's actually a piece of the saint that is stored in this fantastic mission. Well, that was amazing. I did not expect that. You know, just to imagine that, you know, this was here 300 years ago, just in the middle of a jungle. There was no other buildings around of that kind. This was the most grandiose, highly decorated building, and just to imagine what it must have felt like, for example, to be an indigenous person, to walk into a building like that and to see the grandeur of the frescoes and the icons and the statues. It just must have been such a significant impression. It, something that was never experienced by a person before, and it felt very peaceful in there. It's a beautiful church, and I can definitely see how this would have made a very, very lasting and impactful impression on somebody visiting this for the first time and seeing Christianity for the first time. Here we can see a little glimpse of what life was like inside the room. So perhaps here you would have a priest or one of the clergy or laymen live. It's very humble, but very beautiful room. So you can make fire here, and it's quite spacious, and it's actually not so hot here. The walls insulated quite nicely. Okay, wow. So beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful mission. Literally any way you look at the church, it looks magnificent. But hey, let's take a closer look at this front entrance. It does look magnificently beautiful, but what is sometimes missed is the symbolism behind it. So you have to realize that when these friars came from Spain, they had to find a creative way to communicate with the native population. They didn't know the language, they didn't know the culture, so one of the ways they found out they can do it is through art and the symbols hidden in that art. So here, let's decipher some of these secret symbols. Well, not so secret, but still. So, of course, on the very top, you see the Christian cross, and that is a symbol of anointment, salvation, and redemption. It of course signifies Christ's sacrifice for all of people. And right below it, you can actually see a human heart. And what that represents is a sacred heart of Jesus. And it is actually, if you look even closer, is enclosed in thorns. And that signifies the suffering, the grief, and the sin that is natural to this world, unfortunately. And then as we go down, we can actually find two more hearts. Right here, we see a heart with a lily on it, and that represents Saint Joseph's love and care for Jesus. On the other side, we can see a heart with a dagger pierced through it, and that represents the pain and sorrow that Jesus Christ's mother, Saint Mary, felt upon his crucifixion. Let's see, what else can we find? Well, check this out. So right here, you can see a gigantic shell. And what is interesting to know that back in those days, when missionaries came to these sort of tropical lands, they would use big shells as a vessel to pour water over a new convert, and that way they would baptize them. So the shells became known for their role in baptism, and that's why it is here. What else? Well, there's actually also right here, if you look in this corner, there's pomegranates, and that is a fruit that Europeans actually brought from Europe. It was not native to North America or South America, and so that sort of symbolized the arrival of something new to this land. In this case, Christianity. So in this way, they wanted to symbolize the new ideas coming into to Americas, just like the fruits were. And then, of course, everywhere you look, there is cherubims, and these are sort of the messengers of God. They serve as the connection between people and God, and you can see them sometimes as sort of these chubby kids, or again, chubby little fellas with wings. And so, of course, that would be the connection between God and people, and that's what they wanted the indigenous population to sort of understand how this transfer of information works between people and the divinity. Then, let's see. Here's the rose window. So the window we saw before, it's actually called Rosa's window, but this one is rose window. It's an architectural term, and it is sort of placed in many churches of the old to let the light through, and it would shine directly upon the altar, which is just inside right there. What else? And of course, the figures you see have a great significance. So the very top one, right here, is Saint Joseph, or in Spanish, San Jose. So when you hear San Jose, really what it means is Saint Joseph. And he, of course, was the adopted father of Jesus Christ. He wasn't his actual father, but he took care of Jesus as if he was his father. And so here you can see Saint Joseph with the baby Jesus on his hands. And he is the patron of this church. So this whole mission and church is dedicated to Saint Joseph, or San Jose. Now, to his left and right, you can see two more saints of the Catholic Church. On the left, you can see Saint Dominic, and on the right, you can see Saint Francis. They lived about in the same time, and they were actually great friends. They both started Catholic orders, known for their embrace of sort of poverty as a way of life and hard work. They weren't that much different, and both of them sort of quite related. So we can see Saint Dominic here with a book in his hand, and then Saint Francis with a cross, and interestingly enough, a skull. And that sort of symbolizes the belief that Franciscans had that death shouldn't really be feared. It is more like a welcoming thing. It comes and brings the diseased to the God, to the afterworld. And so it is sort of that chain that takes you out of this sinful world and hopefully gets you to the paradise of the afterlife. So that's why there's a skull in his hand. And then if we go down, we find more interesting things. So right there in the center, right above the door, we can see the Our Lady of Guadalupe. So this is sort of the America's equivalent of Saint Mary. The story goes that in 1531, an Indian peasant by the name of Juan Diego was going down the hill, and he saw this apparition of a woman, and what it was supposed to be is sort of Saint Mary coming to visit him. So Saint Mary is known as Lady of Guadalupe in the Americas. It basically means the same thing, but that's the mother of Jesus, of course. And then on the bottom, you have Saint Joachim, which is the father of Saint Mary, so Jesus's grandfather. So there's him. And then on the other side, we see Saint Anne, which is the mother of Saint Mary, so Jesus's grandmother. And then she's holding a baby Mary, so a baby mother of Jesus. So it's kind of interesting because it sort of portrays a Holy Trinity here. It's sort of the nucleus family. There's Saint Mary, her father, and her mother. So quite interesting. So there we go. We deciphered some of the secret symbolism in this front wall of this magnificent mission. I just can't get over his realization of what amount of work went into building buildings like these. I mean, you have to imagine there's no modern construction equipment around, right? Everything is done by hand. At best, you have a donkey or some sort of animal to hold the rocks, but a lot of it is done simply by hand, by foot, and a lot of it was done by, of course, the indigenous people. And just to imagine the hardships they had to go through to build missions like these are just very impressive, and I think we have to give a lot of credit to these hardworking people for gifting us something so beautiful as this. So here we are where the rooms of the clergy and laymen were. I presume behind these wooden bars, that's where the actual rooms were. I mean, not much is left right now of the ceiling either, but you can sort of get the idea where these people resided.
Oh, fireplace.
Huh, what is this?
Cool.
What is that?
Well, they probably cooked something because here's the fire.
Just gonna stroll around through these apartment spaces. Obviously, the roof is gone, but you can still sort of get a sense of where they lived, preached. Oh, looks like there's a little window here of sorts. Oh, this is interesting. Look at this. So this is some sort of fireplace, but if you look up there, you can see graffiti that almost belongs to a museum. G. Jones, 1897. Wow. This makes you wonder, maybe it's a veteran of Civil War that came here and remembered the times of the battles. Maybe it's just a local farmer. Who knows? But who knows what these walls, what kind of history and secrets these walls hold.